What jazz has done for me has allowed me to have improvisation in my life, to let me know that there's no guarantees in life.
It gives me a sense of tradition, for one thing. It ties me in with a lot of accomplishments and, I should say, a history, a culture.
A lot of jazz comes from this anger. You know, a lot of anger, kind of a lot of frustration that's channeled into a creative, positive manner. And I really that just really moved me.
What's jazz given me? Jazz has given me a hard time, really. Yeah, that's what I was doing. First of all, there's a problem with the term jazz because basically that's shorthand. A lot of people mean different things by it. Of course, some people, when you say jazz, they automatically think Dixieland. Some people automatically think Charlie Parker. Some people automatically think Duke Ellington, big bands, say. Then again, some people just think black folks. So the term doesn't really mean too much. But aside from that, jazz has been great to me because for the last going on 20 years now, I've been listening to the music and performing the music.
United Front started from a lot of different groups that Louis and I have been dealing with. We were going up under our own names, you know, depending on who got the performance, it was called their band a lot of times. And so it just got to the point to where we got a little tired of that and we decided to come up with a name so we would put the pressure on everybody. And everybody's a leader of United Front.
Can we double on that? You should have a D flat something.
It's got a D flat, this is a suspended fourth.
Rudy Wangozi is the visiting artist with United Front right now. The piano really adds just other colors.
I got the evidence.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a challenging tune, that's for sure.
Let's take it.
It's hard to play it,
Okay.
play
Let's
it
take
back.
it.
Take it from the top, because I came in wrong.
Oh, okay.
George, coming into the B section, should we come down so we can build up to that?
Yeah,
So we
that'd
should.
be cool.
There should
B
be
section?
should-
Should it be a little snap? What are you referring to as the B section?
after we do. What's the B section? Composer, what's the B
Good
section?
question there.
The B section is what we were just talking about.
If that's the B section, I'm talking about da 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 da.
No. That is the B section.
Okay, if that's the B section, that's being pushed.
Well, we weren't even there then.
section, yeah.
We weren't there.
Okay, well, whatever section
The
we were
section
at, that's
before
being pushed
Okay.
when you come in.
A prime.
A prime. Right, it's being pushed. The rhythm starts to push.
Okay. Take it. Let's take it from right where Louis comes from.
Let's take it. You want me to come in or not?
So, right off to the top. Right off the top. Right off
A
the top.
little snappier, maybe? Up tempo more?
No, it was cool. It was
Cool?
Challenge.
Yeah, because if we start faster, then he'll push it a little bit. So we want to. In the Bay Area is a unique mixture of people. You have Asian influence, you have Latin influence. That's what's going to determine what kind of jazz is played anywhere.
We've been a group since '79, you know, and for a jazz group, that's a very long time. We are a collaborative group. No one has to do all the work. Everyone kind of takes responsibility. It lets everyone compose their music and present it to the group. And then when everyone's playing it, it develops into more of a group sound.
So after every performance in Europe, people come up to us and say, wow, I've never heard anything like that before. Or they don't even compare us to another group, which that's amazing. That's absolutely incredible to not be compared to somebody else, because in America, you're always compared to somebody else as far as being a jazz musician. You've got to be compared to somebody else for somebody to be able to categorize you, or at least, you know, put a label on the type of music that you play.
I've been involved in music all my life. It's that feeling of doing something because I want to do it, I believe in it, you know, I love and respect it. And trying to really better my life, trying to better the life of other people through my music. The senior center I work at, it's called Kimochi Kai, and it's in the Japantown area in San Francisco. We mainly cater to the Japanese elderly, which we call Issei. Hinata-san, hi. These people are making a movie. This is Greg and Sharon, and Emiko's taking the pictures.
How do you do?
She volunteers here every day, and what she does is she stamps these for us. Very tight hand, huh?
No, you joke.
This is Kikuchi-san. She comes Hi, Kikuchi-san. Konnichiwa.
那都是该。
まだ映してないから心配な。
下次都是那那个。
She gets a little bit nervous sometimes. But she's
我一个
lunch
人，
here
我
every
是
day.
的，我是的。
Well, being involved in the community, working in the community, you have to have a certain kind of attitude. It has to come from the heart and soul, really, to be able to put out. And when you do that, it comes back, you know, in different ways, that kind of heart and soul and that feeling. And to me, music is like that, too. It's something that, you know, I love music, I respect it. You know, it's my heart and soul. And when I put that out, people hear it, and then it comes back in other ways. You know, I could feel it. And it's just kind of rapport I have right now with what I'm doing, you know, in my community and what I'm doing in my music.
Working with Mark is incredible because I've never worked with anybody who's understood Asian music that well. And he brings that in, he's able to incorporate that into the music. And then George, coming from St. Louis, well, he brings a whole nother tradition in. And then Louis, with his boundless understanding and love for blues.
My old mule got a grin on his face. Been a mule so long, forgot about his race. I'm like that mule, black, don't give a damn. You got to take me like I am. Well, instead of revolutionary, I have started to use the term revolutionizing. You see, because that sort of has an ambiguity of being a capitalist. You see, you want to revolutionize something so it'll sell more. And when you say you want to revolutionize something to sell more, it doesn't have the, what's the word, onus? It doesn't have the onus that when you say revolutionary, you see, that sounds like, hey, you're not trying to sell something. You're just trying to affect people's consciousness. And there's something wrong with that. But if you were trying to revolutionize something, then you want a better product for more money, that's okay.
Well, I think what I am doing is commercial because it does have an audience. There is a market for the music that I'm dealing with. What one has to do is to come up with some kind of strategy that will enable them to make a living from what they're doing. You know, you're constantly improvising. If I wanted to work on an assembly line, and that's the way I look at a lot of studio musicians, they're like assembly line workers. They show up, punch in, do what they have to do, and then they leave there without any involvement. I am a person that likes to get involved in what I do.
And I knew that it was financial suicide to pursue a career as a jazz musician. But the people that I met involved in this, people who are at least a generation ahead of me, other drummers, other people involved in jazz have all been so encouraging, and they've been the source of my inspiration to continue. Here at the New College, I teach the performing percussion class to introduce people to music from around the world and to have them have some insight into what actually goes on rhythmically. In the Western Hemisphere, the drums are probably the most maligned musical instruments in the music business. Whereas on the other hand, say in Africa, the drums are the most highly regarded instrument in the whole field of musical instruments. So I'm quite surprised at people's response about me being a composer. I guess that eventually people will recognize that even though you do play drums, you do know your scales and you do know something about music theory and harmony and history, and everything else that music is. Sometime in the spring of '82, must have been about 1:30 or 2 in the morning, I couldn't go to sleep because some melody was going through my head. So I just got up and wrote it down on paper and went down to the piano. And I just started to work it out by playing it over again. And I eventually came up with what is now the first section of the Incantation Suite. The fifth section, Monk's Strut, is a dedication to Thelonious Monk, who inspired me to explore a lot more than what is traditionally known as jazz. That piece is unique in that it also incorporates a bird call. The bird used to wake me up every morning. When I reached a mental block about trying to incorporate another theme, I just drew upon that because that melody was always in my head.